let's welcome our next speaker onto stage, who's going to be sharing with us on digital site development. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us, the president of Shenzhen Atenti Technologies, China. Please put your hands together as we welcome on stage Mr. Mac Gangam. A huge round of applause, please. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome. And also remember, you can check out our entire speaker profile on our app. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are trying to bring to you a few topics about billboard development site. These are the topics which we will cover today. The most important and the first thing which most people would ask, since we are going in the direction of do, how to select a location and why? Why would you want that location to be more digital than a static or regular billboard? So if you're looking for the location of do, most of you already know how to choose the right location for your regular ones. So the conversion of a digital billboard, of your existing billboard, will be an existing billboard location which is high on demand would be better if you could change to a do one. And at the same time, you need to find a clutter-free location which is visibility is very high. Just want to make sure that you really don't have too many signs around which will obstruct the client's view or even the viewing location. And at the same time, you are also looking at the measurement of eye contact, quantity, and quality of advertisement on this location. If it is possible, it is better to have a mobility analysis of people walking on foot or on vehicles on the location. A prior survey will always help you know your target clients, whether they would be watching your advertisement, how effective your advertisement can be for them. Moving on to the next step, which is into the site preparation for a billboard development. As you know that for India, this is a starting market and not very many have ventured into the digital outdoor billboard signage network. So one thing for sure, you all know how the structures are there for your regular billboards. But definitely, when you look at an LED screen, it is much, much heavier compared to your traditional ones. An approximate weight could be around 50 to 55 kg per square meter, subject to, it can also be lighter if you're choosing an aluminum weighted cabinet, which could be around 25 to 30 kgs. So I would request you to go ahead and ask your engineers how much load-bearing capabilities your existing structures can take, so that either you retrofit the billboards onto the digital billboards onto the screen, onto the structure. And the design and fabrication of this structure is the key, because this is the biggest investment for you. And specifically, make sure to take care of the soil strength, the wind conditions, where the screen is facing. It will all make a lot of big difference for you to help have a sturdy digital signage network. You can see these are some examples of structure design which I have got for installation. That's a double-sided screen. You either use cranes or you use a monopole, or different kind of structures exist which you can use to install. The most important part is how well your structure has been built. If your structure level is not right, then you would end up having a screen which will not be very seamless. The idea to getting in a digital billboard outdoor is mainly for two reasons: because it has the right brightness, what you need to play in the daytime. At the same time, it doesn't have any bezels. It really is seamless. So in order to make it seamless, you really will need to make sure the structure is properly aligned so that you don't have any gaps when you install the screen on it. It is preferable to have a professional team of people who are trained to do this job, because these panels can end up being very heavy, or you could always install them on the ground and take them on to use a crane to mount them back. In the structure design, there are a couple of things you need to take care of. One, all the LED display panels have a mechanical air cooling. But if you're enclosing your screens with a structure, then make sure you have the right air conditioning and heavy-duty fans to throw out the hot air. LEDs generate a lot of heat, and only 10% of the power is converted into light energy, which actually gives you the visual effect. The remaining 90% is all heat energy. So when heat has to be dissipated, it is very important you use either air conditioning or heavy-duty fans inside your structure to make sure all your components are stable and your screen lasts for a longer period of time. The next step, during your installation and site preparation, we look at the most important aspect of the LED screen. It's the control system that is used to control the screen, the software, and the analytics of the LED screen. You could have a very good screen, but if your software is not compatible with your screen, then obviously you will end up having, for the control system part, you will probably end up having a technical snag. For example, LED analytics is all about monitoring your screen during the operation period of the screen for real time. Say, for instance, you don't want your clients to come back and tell you that one of the module or one of the part of the screen is not working. So obviously, you would want to add analytics to your screen where you can monitor even before the damage is done. So you could install function cards inside this control system, which would enable you to send a message back onto your PC or your mobile phones to make sure that which part of the screen could end up getting into trouble. This absolutely will help you in the future to make sure that your screens are trouble-free, and definitely help you in keeping your screens running without any drop-down time. And definitely there is one more part. Most of the times we see, especially in India, we have a lot of issues with the installation for brightness, because they say that screens are quite bright in the night. And obviously, if you use brightness sensors, it automatically takes care of the brightness part. So I would always recommend to go ahead and install brightness sensors on your screens so that you don't really need to manually change the settings or reduce brightness every day, especially if you're having a network of billboards. It's better to have an auto brightness sensor that goes with it. And if you are going to add a good quality video processor, it gives you different inputs and outputs for which you can go live, or you can also use real-time content play, quite a few options for you for this. And there are a lot of different variables available in the market for the processors and the control systems. The next step, which I probably have been more associated with in the last 12 years, is in the manufacturing of LED screens. And this is the most key part to know if your screen quality can last for good 10 or 12 years. There are a lot of variants in the market where you could choose from a very cheapest version to the most expensive one, but all depends on the material quality that you choose. So the selection of an LED display, in general, for outdoor fixed installations or outdoor digital installations, that there are two versions. We call it DIP and SMD. The SMD is an integrated version where you have RGB all together integrated in one LED. And the DIP version has 3 different LEDs, as you can see on the left side. And the distance between the center of those LEDs is the pixel pitch. The smaller the pixel pitch, the more resolution and the more number of LEDs for a better visual effect. These are the LED examples of LED chip and LED encapsulation companies which are commonly available in the market. But the LED quality is determined specifically by all these components. And the color uniformity, color purity, viewing angle, or the wavelength, or the encapsulation material that has been used, the encapsulation technology that is there, and the bin uniformity of the LED screen depends totally on the quality of the LED you choose. You could have a screen which could be running for you for 6 months, or you could have a screen that could be running for you for 12 years. It would be totally up to you to decide on what LEDs to choose, educate yourself on what qualities to use to be able to run the screen for a longer period of time. Because LED still remains the key heart of the product, which will help the screen to give a real impact of your advertisement. When you're choosing your LED, the next step goes to how would you decide what size of screen to input? What size of screen do you, for example, the viewing distance will decide what kind of screen size you would want to place on the location. This is by thumb rule, a general minimum viewing distance where the height of the display into 3 times is a general. This is not based on the LED display. This is in general based on your eye, because that is how your eye sees the display. So if you have a screen that is 10 feet, then 30 feet would be the right visual distance, or the minimum visual distance. If you come too closer, it gets pixelated, and the image impact doesn't look good. Then at that point of time, it will allow you to choose the right pitch, what kind of pitch to choose. Whether you need a high resolution one, if people are watching from near, or whether it's readable. These kind of things will help you make a decision on the size of your display. And we come to the next point, which is the viewing distances and viewing angles. Now, digital display, the LEDs in itself have their own viewing angles. So there is a vertical and horizontal viewing angle. If you're using SMDs, they are 120 by 120 or 140 by 140, depending on the brand of LED. And if you're using a DIP LED, which is a non-integrated RGB, then you see 120 by 70. So you can see here a small example of the distance of the person standing from the screen. You could choose the pitch of the screen. If you're closer, you're choosing a better resolution because people are viewing it from much closer. And when you go up to a larger distance, you could go up to P16 or P20s. So for the LED screen, if you are going to invest money into a high resolution screen, which is installed at maybe a longer distance, you probably will be wasting your money on something which you could use a 16 mm if you're going to spend on a P6. So this consideration is made based on the location that you choose and based on the size you want to have your display. Of course, permissions play also an important part. This is an example of viewing angle and brightness. You don't want your screens to be too bright. It will look like a huge, big bulb. You really want, that is the reason when we were discussing earlier, we had sensors to be put in, so the brightness automatically comes down. You can have your screen mounted this way, or it could be directional at an angle so that it can correctly catch the audience attention. So placement of the LED screen on the location is very, very important to have a very good impact of your advertisement onto the clients or the audience who are walking by or driving by. You can see on the third one, it's still straight, but the viewing angle has changed. So you can also choose LEDs which are directional. You could choose the LEDs which are exactly pointing to the place where people are moving by or cars are moving or mounted on a wall. So these are the different kind of ways where you can mount LED screens. But at the same time, if you take care of the LED directional viewing angles, it will help you decide on your LED screen requirements. This is the most important part of an LED screen. You might have seen many screens, many people complain, oh, it doesn't look like an LCD. Yes, LED screen is not an LCD one, for sure. You can see it's a white balance over here. The white balance for product will differ based on the LED you choose. This is a very clear example where the white color has shifted totally off the. So a cheaper product would end up looking like this, where a right quality product would end up giving a more visual impact for people watching the advertisement. I have been hearing from clients many times. They have come back to me and said, we have been using screens, but they don't look so good over a period of time. Something has lost. But that's because the decision at the time of buying is very important. You choose quality that would last longer and that would give value to your company. This is color calibration. When you buy a screen, there are two ways a screen can be calibrated. One on-site and one which is calibrated within the manufacturing facility. You are seeing two pictures here. The one on the left looks very pixelated and it has a mosaic effect, but the one on the right is more smooth and clear, more like an LCD. So the reason you see this difference is because that screen has been calibrated on-site. So billboard owners, when they have a digital screen, it's not just the screen, but they also need the calibration equipment to make sure the screen looks the same over a period of time. Say, for example, you have that image over there where tribes is written, and that's in blue. So if that content is played on the screen for a longer period of time, say 1 year, 2 years, that means that part, the blue is aging much quicker than the red and green LED. So there, over a period of time, you will see the color variation between, when you play a white color video, you might see at tribes, the blues are less brighter and the red and green are more brighter. So at this point of time, you will need to get into color calibration equipment which would go ahead and face this on-site to make sure that your screen looks the same what it was when you bought. This part is probably most important considering the amount of huge energy which LED displays consume. LED displays, you could see this is 50% of the LED, the pixel consumes the most, and the remaining is split up. So if you want to reduce your energy bills, there are energy-saving driver ICs which could reduce your energy bills by 40%, or you could choose the right LED with high quality, which can drive the LED to more brightness with a bigger chip size, so you would have less power consumption. An average consumption is around 18 to 30 watt per hour per square foot in case of a digital billboard or for a standard P10 or P16, which is normally used. Why I have said 18 to 30 watt? Because you could have a product which could save a lot of energy if you choose the right energy-saving components. The power supply, if the power efficiency is better for your power supply with a power factor of 85% to 88%, you will get a lesser energy bills. Then we move to the next topic, which is maintenance and management of an LED display. After buying an LED display, it's not like an LCD panel where you bought it and it will run for the next 5, 10 years without any, or maybe 5 years without any kind of maintenance. LED display is associated with a lot of maintenance. And these are the most important parts to consider when you're setting up your screen and looking at maintenance aspect. You need your power backup systems, UPS and inverters, specifically considering that if any power outage will stop the screen from running your adverts and you might not be able to bill your clients for the lost time. So as long as you keep your power backup system to keep your screens running, it will always be better. And of course, I have already mentioned the fans and air conditioning and color calibration every 6 to 8 months or at least once a year must be done. There is, and to end what I have been discussing, last part would be cleaning of screens, which most people would like to know that when we put our cars outside, it accumulates dust. Screens also accumulate dust. Use isopropyl alcohol to be able to clean your screens on a regular basis to make sure your screens are as bright as before. And you need a dedicated service team to be able to maintain and manage your screens professionally. With this, I'd like to bring end to the billboard site development speech. If you have any further questions, please, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, as you were sharing with us, I have to share with you that the questions kept pouring in. So you have to be ready to answer some right now.
Definitely.
And to do us the honors and ask these 3 questions, we welcome on stage the CEO of Jagran Engage. Please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Pavan Bansal. Welcome, sir. Sir, it's going to be a rapid fire, and you got to choose one person who walks away with 10,000 rupees. Wow.
Good afternoon, Mahesh. Thank you for such an informative session.
My pleasure.
As far as summing up is concerned, I think so it was too technical, I think so people would have got a hang of it, yeah? Okay. So I've selected 3 questions. So the first question comes from Chandrasekhar Rao from Lakshya Hyderabad Airport Media Private Limited. He wants to ask you that DOH mediums are new emerging mediums, and a lot of innovations happening in that field, correct? So he's asking you, how cost-effective will it be to transfer or update a static billboard into digital, since the technology will change in, say, 2 or 3 years of time?
At the present situation, the technology is very much stable compared to what it was 10 or 12 years ago. So the product range has more or less stabilized for outdoor billboards where people are using P10 or P16 are the general popular products which are used across the globe as of today. Based on the size of screen, you are choosing bigger or smaller, but the technology in general has improved a lot and is much more stable to be used. Yes, it is too early to change everything probably to digital. It might be not very cost effective immediately to change, but the drive is there to change, and change happens. You can't.
Okay. So you mean to say that the technology right now is so the technology right now is quite stable, which can, at least for the next 4 to 5 years, it can exist, yeah?
Not 4 to 5 years, I think it's here to stay.
It's here to stay?
It's here to stay.
Yeah. The questions. Okay, the next question which I had selected was, it's from Emmanuel of ITC. So, as far as I can recollect, his question is that he says most of our spends happen during the summertime for a brand, yeah? So in peak summers, where there are a lot of power outage and disturbances, is a solar LED billboard is a possible solution right
It
now?
is already a reality
Okay.
in having a solar LED billboard. They have already screens been installed in Canada, in US, where they have used solar billboards to run LED screens. The cost effectiveness, of course, again comes back to solar panels being expensive. You need heavy batteries to keep on for storage purpose. This is the only drawback. But other than that, at this point of time, where in a country like India, where there is a lot of sunshine, definitely.
But only the investments required
Yes,
would be higher,
yes.
yeah? And the last question is from Shashi Sinha, again from Lakshya Hyderabad Airport Media Limited. Shashi wants to ask you, in the DOH regime, a lot of power shifts to the side of the software company, who will be tempted to escalate their fees exorbitantly in subsequent renewals. What are the ways to control the software supply?
A lot of free software is available in this market. I don't think there is any shortage of software for running digital billboards, especially in the LED industry. Many manufacturers who are giving this as a freebie along with the screen. So you really don't have to worry about existing a single company which can do that. So, and many manufacturers are willing to integrate based on your requirements. There are many OEM manufacturers who will be happy to go ahead. If you tell them your requirements, they will integrate their control system for you as per your requirements. So there are not just one or two companies which are just providing the software to control or escalate the costs. You have a lot of softwares available in the market for this.
And last but not the least, Mahesh, which of the three questions I asked you was the best?
The second one for solar.
The second one? Emmanuel from IDC.
We've got the check being brought onto stage. And we've got Emmanuel joining us. Congratulations.
Was it too big?
10,000 rupees. Alak Advertising and Publicity making this possible. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause, please. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and congratulations, Emmanuel.